number 2 for obviously today's episode. We're back obviously with another Mick Schumacher Fantasy Career Mode episode today. For the round number 2 for the Chinese Grand Prix, and yeah, hopefully we can improve on last time out. Of course, that's our biggest aim and goal for obviously the second round. But it's not going to be easy because we haven't got the best car. However, there was some nice surprises from yesterday's episode, from yesterday's race. In the sense that, despite not having the best car ultimately, the pace wasn't shabby. It wasn't too far off the pace. In fact, our pace was kind of reasonable to expect. It was sort of okay because at the end of the day, we, for most part, were actually in the top 10, or hovering on the edge of points, basically. And we probably should have and could have scored points last time out in our first debut race for the Haas F1 team. I need to actually quickly, before we start this episode, I'm going to have to quit, okay, because I've just forgot. I'm going to sort out my driver helmet, unless you can do it in this game mode, which I have my very biggest doubts by the looks of it. Nope, we cannot. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly quit, okay, just so we can sort out the driver helmet. Okay, so I do hope you bear that quickly in mind, that we're not quitting the game. We will obviously get today's episode underway ASAP, but we're only just quitting just to obviously sort out the driver helmet, because obviously right now we don't have a helmet as such for Mick Schumacher. We're going to use probably one of the tribute Michael Schumacher helmets. Probably, I think that is what we'll go for. So, how do we do this? I think you go to customization, then it would be, not that, it'd be character customization. Then it'd be the Mick Schumacher. Use this character. Not sure which career save it is. Probably career save 3. Don't think it's. Could be career save 2 actually. But in case it isn't, I'll just say it's career save 3 as well. In case it really isn't career save 3 and it's career save 2. Anyway, so we need to edit the helmet. So yeah, we'll have a look at some of the helmets we've designed in game. These are some of them, not really anything they're popping out really at me for now. I think we'll just go for one of the tribute either 70 helmets or one of the tribute Michael Schumacher helmets. I like this one because you'd almost get the impression it is Michael Schumacher's helmet, and I like also this one here, the F1 Race as 1 helmet. The F1 70 born in 1950 is alright, I suppose. In terms of locked helmets, nothing really there shouting at me. I think we'll just go for this one. It's most simple one, plus it's sort of what Schumacher is, you know, and yeah, it's actually career save 2. Either way, that really probably doesn't matter too much. Anyway, so right, back to China for FP1 with our updated helmet. Obviously, it's only a game, you know, at the end of the day, not really makes much difference, I don't think, having a different helmet. Just be as fast, but at least then, hopefully, graphically, it looks good in the sense, you know, you viewers will see just something that resembles what a Schumacher Formula 1 driver should be, basically, and the helmet designs that Schumacher would have. Actually, in real life, I really like Schumacher's F2 helmet. I wonder whether, obviously, he'll have the same or similar in F1. I suspect he probably will, go for a same or similar design. But I really do like it, actually. The neon green, you know, really nice. And with the black and I think yellow he's got in the helmet, or black and white writing, not sure. But either way, it's a really lovely helmet. And if you haven't seen it, highly recommend you go check out his F2 helmet. Really nice. But yeah. Anyway, straight out, and obviously straight onto the practice. So yeah, obviously there's our new helmet. Don't really see it from the onboard anyway, so really probably on the offboards it will look a lot better. It is raining here in China by the looks of things. Obviously it is free practice, so obviously it's not really important, because unlike real life, there won't be a red flag, or the session won't be suspended in the game. We will do qualifying either way, so you know, it doesn't really affect how we start. Ultimately, I don't think actually there's been that sort of case for a long time where they've actually selected the grid from a Friday practice session, actually, of what I can recall. The last time it must have happened, gotta be God knows when. I honestly have no clue when the last time that ever happened, if it ever happened, in F1 history, because they can do that. They can obviously use the free practices as the definitive starting grid result. That's why practice is actually a bit more vital in F1 than you may anticipate. But at the same time, it rarely happens, if it ever does happen. Yeah, I certainly do not recall it ever happening in my time whilst watching the Formula 1. I've always remembered Formula 1, usually if qualifying can't be done on a Saturday for whatever reason, then they would do it on the Sunday morning, which obviously sometimes is alright, other times it's not alright. I think the only 2 times it's happened in the last decade was 2019 Japanese Grand Prix, when we had that tsunami. I believe it also happened at the Australian Grand Prix of 2013, and I think it may have also happened at the Japanese Grand Prix of 2011, but don't quote me on that. Certainly the last one I said. I certainly know it happened though at 2 of those. Certainly the Japanese Grand Prix and Australian Grand Prix of those 2 years, 2013 and 2019. But yeah, nothing really much. So we do get the resource points there, which is the most important thing. That will help towards development of the car, which for us is probably the most important thing right now that we need to do. We do need to develop this car if we want to challenge for race wins and possibly even a title going into further seasons. Like, will I do a second season of career mode? Absolutely. Will it be with Haas? I honestly could not say right now. We'd have to see how things go, obviously. So Giovinazzi right now top of the leaderboard. We are P2 right now in that leaderboard. So obviously I think really we've secured P2 in FP1 here. Either way, and in the free practice session we take part in. Obviously because with the rain I don't voice almost broke there. I don't think we're going to get, obviously, a dry line before the end of the session. Probably won't, now based on the fact it's raining, but
the rain's getting worse. Be very careful.
That could be a good thing, because hopefully just means we can get our objectives done. I know they won't be representative, but look, practice. When has practice ever been representative? And if it's raining, no offense, but it's even more unrepresentative than if it was going to be dry, because usually, you know, dry practices, yeah, they're somewhat unrepresentative. They are probably the most unrepresentative thing in Formula 1, but in the wet, that doubles almost because of the difference in car performance and how it levels out playing field. Plus, especially in a session like now, where obviously actually some cars did get a dry lap in, and where others won't get even one single dry lap in, because yeah, hence Giovinazzi is on top with P2. Like, yeah, you can just see that is very unrepresentative. And across the line, so obviously tyre wear, get the not optimal, but we get the middle resource points. I believe it's 25, so it's all right, I suppose. I'll take it. Finally, qualifying pace. Obviously, again, you know, unrepresentative. If you want to come back later for the more representative stuff, well, it'll be after this lap.
We've estimated the times our closest rivals will be doing, so that's what we need to beat.
So, obviously, a bit wet. First wet outing though, I suppose, which is good. It allows me just to get a feel for the car, what it may be like in such conditions, if we do face these conditions in future Grand Prix. At least I now have a bit of running. I know how the car may handle. Obviously though, it's supposed to be dry for the remainder of the weekend. Technically it should have been dry for this session. What am I aware? Clearly though, Mother Nature had other ideas on her bucket list. Still, as we bin the car in the Armco barrier, which, yeah. So, not really going way this is. If we fail this one, obviously we'll just go straight into qualifying, regardless. I'm not really someone who, either way, cares too much. Probably are just going to fail it. Yeah, definitely failing it now. Okay, come round final corner anyway. As we skate across the line, and there we go. Right, we'll obviously now jump straight into qualifying for hopefully a better result. So yeah, we finished second then there. Not really representative, as I said. You can't really take that result and go, yep, we are on for second place in the race. If we manage to do that again in qualifying, and so does Giovinazzi, well, then okay, maybe you could expect us to finish on the podium in the race, but for now, really just take them results with very much a pinch of salt, because, yeah, only 2 cars, well, 1 car, actually, because, reason why I say 1 car, because even though we got a lap pin on a set of dry tyres, really it was on a set of hard tyres, and hards have less grip than mediums, and therefore naturally I should have been slower anyway than Giovinazzi, despite maybe we have a slightly quicker car than the Alfa Romeo, but I don't think that would have been enough either way, based on tyre difference, would have been enough to leapfrog us ahead of Giovinazzi. So really, Giovinazzi took that really because he did the only sort of representative lap then today. And on the other hand, we, did the second most representative lap on the hards. Rest of our laps were a bit unrepresentative. Also, plus, I never really give it 100%. And in a session like that, how can you give 100% when it's not going to replicate what you're going to see in the rest of the weekend? Anyway, here we go then for the start of qualifying, and yeah, to get qualifying underway, obviously I suspect now with qualifying it will be a little bit more representative, and whatever happens now, well, it's not you can write it off or whatever, because now you'll see a definitive answer to where we're at. So we're first out of the garages. We got a Mercedes not too far behind. I'll probably let the Mercedes go prior to me, only because that Mercedes is gonna be way faster than us. There we go then. So just gonna let Mercedes go first. I'm gonna actually try and follow here a little bit, because even though we may pick up a bit of dirty air, in the game it doesn't have as much of an effect than it probably does in real life. So so long we hang on in the corners, either way, it's not going to be too costly following Bottas's car. Plus, down the straight, we may just find ourselves gaining a bit of time in those respects. So, feels like an okay lap so far. Doesn't feel too bad. taking out that bollard. But otherwise, not bad actually. It is still a long way off the Mercedes, but I'll take it, a 1.33. Obviously not sure how representative that is yet, because it's still very early in terms of cars going round, and right now we are the slowest, but you know, again, not many cars have completed a lap yet. So, can't really be too sure as to how representative really our lap time is. It could be very representative, it may not be at all representative. But right now we are ahead of George Russell, as to be expected. We're also ahead of Pierre Gasly, who is in the AlphaTauri, so that's probably a little bit less expected, I suppose, overall, but yeah. So first lap was actually seeming, so far, from basically initial results, somewhat okay. Head of Kevin Magnussen, so we've beaten our teammate second time in a row then today. We come into the pit lane. So yeah, obviously very early still in the session. I don't think it will be P6 come the end of it, but right now if we can beat our teammate and beat Pierre Gasly, that would be probably a solid result, in all honesty. So yeah, we are ahead of our teammate so far, which is the good news. The not so good news, we are slipping down the order. So yeah, two sides to it as always, as they say. Never one side to the story. So we're actually over almost half a second up on our teammate, quite honestly. We're a bit of a distance though down on Ocon, Stroll and Kvyat, so if we want to get close to that top 10 we need to almost find a second worth of lap time. But anyway, we're going to go out. We almost actually probably missed the cut-off there. Did we change our tyres? I'm not sure if we did or we didn't. I hope we did. I can't tell you whether we did or did. Or did or didn't, sorry. Yeah, we did, which is good. So, does mean that our tyres are fresh going into the lap. Obviously, a bit different in terms of our timing, in terms of getting out, in the sense we're actually going out, obviously, with virtually no one ahead of us. So it's virtually a clear track to ourselves to make any improvements. Tyre wear appears high on this track. Not going to lie there. Does seem to be a bit difficult keeping the tyre wear down. Trying our best though, because don't want to take life out of the tyres. That's one thing definitely don't want to do. Got 20 odd seconds to make it to the line. Also got a car coming up fastly behind us, so gonna probably go now. Here we go then, second lap. Let's see if we make any improvement. Bit out wide there, but overall wouldn't have gained anything. But so far on this lap, we are improving. Maybe enough of an improvement to go one position up, but not really much, so half a second there. A decent improvement, can't complain about that. Just a shame that we're not good enough to go any better. Only 2 tenths off in the end, and only 3 tenths off, you know, 10th place. But I suppose the positives to always qualifying, let's say, well, especially when you have a car like ours outside the top 10, but clearly by only a couple tenths of a second either way, is we're going to have fresh tyres at the very, very beginning of the race. That could be fundamental to those opening few laps, because it just means we have a bit more tyre life to take out of our tyres, where everyone else in that top 10 are going to have to conserve a little bit more, and that's only good news for us and bad news for those obviously starting in the top 10. So you could see that like we saw in Bahrain, and I think that would have explained our pace in Bahrain actually, and I think it does explain our pace in Bahrain. But you know, we will see, because if it's confirmed today, and we have a very similar pace, if not better pace, guess what? You know, we will obviously be in that top 10, and we will be very similar to Bahrain, but hopefully without the errors and without the damage to our front wing. Like, yeah, what a great shame that was. You know, we were running in a genuinely good position for most of the race. Yeah, we were coming under pressure. Would we have scored points? I genuinely don't know. But were we in a good position? Absolutely. And we probably would have easily beaten our teammate as well in both qualifying and the race. So yeah. Anyway, 19.4 Celsius. Clear track, obviously. Here we go then. For the second race of the calendar. So 2 DRS zones, 1 down the back straight and 1 into turn 1/turn 2. Also, good opportunity to overtake down into turn 4. That is certainly somewhere where you can make a manoeuvre. But overall, yeah, we'll see. So Charles Leclerc currently leads the Drivers' Championship from Lewis Hamilton. You'd never hear that in real life. But at the end of the day, yeah, obviously, Ferrari getting off to a good start, unlike real life, obviously, here. So here we go. This is the grid. So Bottas, I think, once again on pole. Lewis Hamilton second place. Third we have Verstappen. Fourth, again Leclerc doing a fabulous job. Fifth and sixth we have Albon and Vettel. Seventh Ricciardo. Eighth Norris. Ninth Perez. 10th Sainz. Stroll 11th. 12th obviously Kvyat. Ocon 13th. We start 14th. And yeah, that's really it really for the grid. start. So yeah, here we go then for round number 2 of this season of 16 rounds. It's lights out and away we go. Not been a great start actually here. We didn't get a good start into turn 1. Managed to defend our position quite nicely, but everyone sort of goes wide, leaves open a door. Stroll also leaves open the door. Very weak defending on these first laps from the AI. I hope it will be rectified for F1 2021, but not good to see the AI struggle so much in one corner as we go down the inside. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between myself and Carlos, but it was a fair racing maneuver in some sense. Carlos left the door open, we went down the inside, and guess what, we took the position as well. And right now, again, pace just on this opening lap really suiting our car and really helping us out. As we now go set after Lando Norris in his McLaren. That'd be for 8th place. We get a great exit. Having to duck in and out of the slipstream there. Can we go around the outside of Lando Norris? Tiny bit on the grass, tiny bit wide. That could be a costly error. It was a certainly timely error, but thankfully we sort of defended our position, I think. Unless Perez gets us here on the outside into turn 4, which he doesn't. And that's just allowed us once again to hopefully go back off into the distance after Lando Norris. So yeah, just went a bit wide there at turn 1, going onto the grass, which is never really where you want to be, especially in that corner, because once you get caught there, really do get caught. So Sainz going to probably be on our tail up this back straight. So long back straight here, so you can obviously benefit from DRS from next lap. Sainz goes to the inside, we're going to have to take the outside line, and we do obviously manage to defend off Carlos Sainz in there, but he's still there. And now DRS is open obviously, or activated, so now if any car is within a second of the car ahead, they could use the DRS in order to aid them in a pass. Right now, we're probably the biggest one at threat of that, because given the fact we're in 6/10 and we won't have any DRS ourselves, doesn't help our threat. So if we want to, you know, maybe limit Sainz's overtaking potential, we have to build up a bit of a lead here. We'll get a really good exit out of that crucial DRS activation zone in order to defend from Carlos, who right now running in 10th in the points himself, but can he nail this? If he does, I think we could be doomed here, going up this straight. 6/10 of a second. DRS will now come available for Carlos Sainz as we force Carlos to go the long way round. Then here, manage to defend off Carlos then there for that part of the lap.
We're leading our teammate by 4.9 seconds.
So not really allowing Carlos to make a maneuver into like turn 1. Obviously Carlos is this time he gets switched back. A little bit of contact has been made. We don't get a good exit, and that's just allowed Carlos Sainz to take the lead and to get 9th place off us. So right, we do have obviously fuel to use, which I'm probably going to try and use a little bit now in order to try and just stay within that DRS range now of Carlos. Because if we can do that, maybe there's a opportunity for us to get back pass. You just never know. So obviously we'll have DRS assistance. And Carlos is in. So is Perez, so we are gonna obviously now, as an effect of that, go up into P5 in this race. But now Lance Stroll, the other racing point, will be coming after us. Obviously, our outlap here probably is going to be so effective. So I reckon we've probably lost our chance to get ahead. But I wouldn't have suspected them to come in so early. But I reckon the undercut here is just gonna be so effectively. We're like a sitting duck as well on the straight, with basically the lack of everything. And yeah, Stroll's just able to breeze past me there. So then we come into the pits, and obviously to take off these tyres, which are certainly gone now. No life really in them. And it seems we've actually almost jumped Lance there, but we didn't jump Lance. In fact, we probably were unsafely released into Lance Stroll, but we're immediately going to get him on turn 1, and that puts us up into probably a net race position of P11 right now. So, race as it stands, we currently probably sit just outside the points in 11th place right now, which is an improvement, I suppose, on the last race, but we've still got a fair distance to go. Let's not count our chickens before they've hatched, but at the end of the day, race is looking once again decent from my side of the garage. Overall, can we get points? I don't think we've got enough pace to do that today, to tell you the absolute truth. But if there's a retirement inside the top 10, you may, well, we are probably in pole position then, to right now take that, based on the fact we're P11.
Kevin is in the pits.
I know it says P15 there. In case any of you wondering what am I on about, we're P15, but as you can see, people still got to make their stops. Also, if we have a good pace actually here, you never know.
The car ahead is 5.2 seconds.
So there we go then. That puts us up into P11, as I was saying. So now, really, question is, can we go after Perez here in our Haas? If we can we then overtake?
1 second.
The second question after that is, will there be any retirements in this race that promotes us into the top 10? And if there is, who? So right now we're pulling out a bit of a lead on Lance Stroll, which is good. As we now approach roughly the halfway distance in this race. We're just over halfway actually.
Let's use overtake and burn some of this energy.
So right now, doesn't appear anyone.
Mind that front wing.
I thought I almost had that saved there. I wasn't expecting that. What actually happened? Just gone the power. Just wheel spin, I suppose. Right, well, flashback. I hope you guys won't kill me for that. I know we didn't use flashbacks in the last race, but yeah. Either way, it looks like we do have a yellow flag at the end of that sector. Looks like one of the Williams has gone. Yep, it's Nicholas Latifi. Not really what we needed, to be truthful with you. If we're gonna score points today, we need someone in that top 10 to basically go and say bye-bye to the race.
Gap to car in front is 2.4 seconds.
Right now, it's really not good enough to be in 11th. Our pace just isn't quite top 10 today. Like, was it top 10 though last time? I suppose that's also the ultimate question. We are certainly, I'd say, at the edge of the top 10. but are we quite there yet? Probably not. I wonder who's leading right now. I know it's not us. It's not Perez or anyone behind us either.
Currently P11, we're currently P11. Perez is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 2.8 seconds. They're on old mediums. Stroll is behind you. The gap to the car behind is 1.5 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. The distance to the leader is 19.0 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these
So,
again now.
not telling me who the leader is, just telling me the gap to the leader, which is basically a pit stop ahead. No surprise there. So Lance appears to be gaining a bit of pace. Someone is out. Not sure who it is. I think it's one of the Renaults. It is. It's Esteban Ocon,
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
who's retiring from this race. So Ocon is out. Again, not really a driver that's benefiting us. If we're going to be benefited through any retirements, they need to be ahead of us and not behind. Fortunately, game is saying no.
Behind, keep pushing.
So lap 11 of the 14, and yeah, we're done okay. Majority of the race has been alright. I can't say it hasn't. Pace has been decent. Can't say it hasn't either. But ultimately, things just aren't going our way. And yeah, we're probably not quick enough yet to be in that top 10 today. So you can see both Mercedes. I think, yeah, Mercedes are 1-2 right now. That's giving you that answer. So,
Information on Ricardo. They're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
oh my days. Is Ricardo in front of us? Yes, he is. So, that could be monumental. Please say we've got enough pace to gain to the back of Ricardo. Come on. Let's put this car into rich revs and go. Can we capitalise on a Ricardo that could have some sort of problem? Not sure what that problem is, but maybe there is a glimpse of hope. Right now, I don't feel like we're gaining enough on Daniel if we're going to catch up and overtake. We will see. So can we just gain enough in this final lap? 5 seconds, it's a lot of time. And yeah, they are losing a little bit. Sainz has come down from 7 seconds to 6 seconds, but I know that wouldn't be enough right now. Effectively, we need Ricardo to be losing a lot more than just a couple of seconds per lap. Need to be losing probably around, I don't know, 5 right now. Fortunately, they're not losing that time. And appears maybe Ricardo's got enough to even hold on to his own position. So we need to gain 6 seconds basically in the next quarter of a lap. As myself and Stroll have a little touch. And Lewis Hamilton wins the Chinese Grand Prix to, I presume, claim the top step and go top of the table in the Drivers' Championship, depending on Leclerc. Bottas second then for Mercedes, so Mercedes 1-2, not too sure who finished third. I think it was one of the Red Bulls, but we come home P11. I'm not disappointed, to be truthful. I'm actually happy with that because, you know, obviously I can't really complain. Like, it's where the car is probably at, 11th place, just outside the points, and that's maximising it, really. But I can't be either over the moon because we still haven't scored points, but nor has my teammate either, I suppose, either. So there's, I suppose, two ways to look at it, plus we had good pace. So yeah, Carlos Sainz finishes 9th then, so that is then that. So looking at who comes out of the podium, so yeah, it is Mercedes 1-2. Leclerc comes home 3rd, but I still believe that should be enough to see Lewis Hamilton swim to the top of the Drivers' Championship. Bottas obviously picking up 18 points, which, yeah, is obviously very good for him. But yeah, that should be enough now to see Lewis Hamilton on top of the Drivers' Championship. Leclerc, though, another impressive 3rd place. Can't complain for Leclerc at that one, third in today's race. Compare that to his teammate, who's in 8th. Well, you know, actually really good from Charles Leclerc, but you can see how far Mercedes are ahead, literally. You know, we basically, we are actually not too far behind those guys, which is impressive. But yeah, you can see how far behind and ahead Mercedes are. 11 seconds on this circuit, and don't forget, it is only a short race, so in a full race that's probably talking way over 20 odd seconds. Yeah, so yeah, Leclerc does slip down the table to second place, but he's way ahead of both Red Bulls and obviously Valtteri Bottas, so can't really complain there for Leclerc. Vettel's in 9th with 10 points so far this season for Ferrari. Mercedes also therefore now also take over the lead of the Drivers' Championship as well. We move up to 7th in the Constructors despite not having scored any points. Yeah, not really. Still early days, okay, so it's still very close and really all to play for, I'm gonna say. But Mercedes have certainly put a step in the right direction towards claiming, just like real life, a 7th title in season 1. So yeah, very good for Mercedes in there. And good for Lewis Hamilton as well, who cannot complain. Now I think I just want to check something, because on lap 1 I feel like I had a bit of a knock somewhere. I know we had a bit of contact into turn 4 with obviously signs. There we go, that's the contact you see. But I feel like further on, later down the lap, probably here, I'm probably wrong, I feel like someone touched me. Maybe they didn't. Did they? No, they didn't. But yeah, here I don't know why. I feel like, as you'll see, you know, I feel like the car slid there. We get a bit of counter steer, and I thought actually we were hit by maybe one of the Racing Points or McLarens because of that, you know. But clearly you weren't. I don't know why we thought we were. But yeah, clearly evidence shows otherwise. And yeah, in matter of fact, we were certainly nowhere near to being hit. So yeah, that's really about it, really. Then, I suppose, back to the in-game hub, obviously, back to HQ. Obviously, we do have some upgrades coming in the pipeline for future upcoming races, so yeah, we should be making either way steps forwards anyway at some point, but either way. Can't complain at that though, neither, being obviously, well, given the fact we had a fairly decent race, pace wasn't bad or anything. But ultimately, despite that pace, still not good enough to obviously get a top 10 or score points, more importantly. So next obviously is the Dutch Grand Prix. Obviously hopefully them upgrades come. And hopefully we'll see us moving up the order. We have actually slipped according to that, down the order, apparently. But yeah, right now you can see we're a bit off the midfield, which seems representative. But once them upgrades come, we should hopefully take a leap closer to that midfield and be a bit more on the pace. Anyway, thank you for watching. Until the next time, have a great day. Please subscribe, like and share. See you next time.